friends, today I'm going to show you how to make a Colourwork cowl in crochet. I have 3 colors here. This will be my main color, this will be my contrast color, and I'm also going to show you how to work with more than 2 colors at the same time. And I've made a little test chart for us, which looks like this. And with a chart, you always start. I'm going to show you with my hook. So here is a scale from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the left, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on until 15 to the top. And with a chart, you always start at the bottom right. And each square symbolizes 1 stitch, and we are going to use the center single crochet, also known as the waistcoat stitch. This is a repeat of 8 stitches to have later 1 pattern. And if you want to make a cowl, you have to calculate how big it has to be, or how big you want it and need it. These are 8 stitches, as I said, so if you use a 4mm hook size like I am, and a 4-ply fingering yarn, then I would suggest something between 96 for a tight cowl and 120 for a loose cowl stitches with my gauge. And I'm going to write my gauge down below. Now, it all starts the same. We are taking this step by step. First of all, I'm going to take my main color and I'm going to make a slip knot. Now, the way I make a slip knot is I wrap it twice around my finger like this, and then I lift the thread over the first, and then the one which is now the second over that one. Alright, and then I have a loop, and I'm placing my hook into the loop, and I pull it tight. Not too tight, because I still want to work into it. Back to sizing. I have here a 8 stitch repeat, and for this purpose I'm going to repeat the pattern only twice. So I will need 16 stitches. If you want to make a proper cowl, then you obviously have to make more repeats. So you see how many stitches you need, and then you take a multiple of the 8 stitches to get your size cowl. So let's start. As I said, for this purpose I'm just going to have 16 stitches. So to begin with, I chain 16. And to chain, you yarn over and you pull through your loop. That's 1 chain. Again, yarn over, pull through loop. That's 2 chains. I'm going to make this until I have 16. There we go. These are 16 stitches. If you are a tight crocheter, then you might want to use a hook size 1 higher than the one you're going to use for the body of the cowl. Now, this is quite a short chain, so I don't have a problem finding the first one without twisting it. But it helps to just run your thumb over the top here, if it's a long chain, and until you find the first you made, then move it to the right because we want to join it. And I usually join it. See, that's my first stitch, and I want to join it by just pushing in there one thread of the loop on top and the other 2 at the bottom, and then I'm going to take my live thread and I make a slip stitch. There, I have joined it in the round. Now I'm going to chain 1 to lift the crochet row up, so that I can start working my next row. And for this I'm going to work into the back bump of each loop, of each chain which I've made. Now the first one might be a little tricky to find. It's hiding right there. So the first one is always tricky. There. So I went in there and I pull over the yarn, pull through the loop, and I yarn over and pull through both. Now I'm going to take my hook into the second back bump. Oh, it's a little bit fiddly, especially since I'm not sitting comfortably. There we go, we are inside back bump. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, and yarn over and pull through. And we are going to do this 16 times in total, so that we have the 16 stitches which I was talking about. So here I've made 16 stitches, and again I'm careful not to twist it. So I'm slip stitching into the first stitch for closing the round, and then I'm going to chain 1 to raise the hook again. And now I'm going to introduce my second color. And to do this, I'm just going to take the color, I'm going to hold it. My first color is the front, then I'm going to hold the second color to the edge where I've worked before. And now I'm going to make a waistcoat stitch or a center single crochet into the first single crochet stitch. I'm going to use the nose of my hook, not the tip, but the nose. There's the nose, that's the tip, that's the nose. And I'm going to pull this into my stitch, and I'm going to grab my color, I'm going to pull it through, working over the second color, and then I'm going to finish off as if I would have a normal single crochet. I think we have to change the angle of, let me just move it here. So again, we're going to hook into the stitch, yarn over the color, pull through, and finish off as if we would have a normal single crochet. And just to show you again where I'm hooking in, for a normal single crochet, you would just go here into the top of a stitch. That's not what we're doing. We're going right here. We're not going in here, we're going in there below. There's a little V, and that's where we're hooking into. Now I'm going to do this off screen the round. The next one will be easier to show. There we go. I've made 16 stitches, and now I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch I've made, always working over the second thread. Then chain 1, and now we can begin the color work. Let's look into the chart. I'm going to start here. I'm going to make 1 2 stitches in color A, which will be the turquoise, and 1 stitch in the orange, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches with the turquoise again, continuing at the end. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches. So first I start with the 2 stitches here, and you make the color changes 1 stitch before you see the color. So I'm going to make 1 stitch in the turquoise, and then when I finish off the 2nd stitch in turquoise, I'm going to make the color change right here in that stitch. So let's start. We're going to push the hook in here, going through, grabbing the yarn, pulling through, finishing the first stitch. Now the next stitch we want to make and finish off so that we have a new color on the hook. We pull through, we push in, pull the loop up, and now we have to make the color change. So I'm going to place my main color to the front side. I'm going to grab the orange, and then I'm going to pull the orange through my 2 loops, finishing off the turquoise stitch. And now I have 2 stitches in turquoise and can make the next one according to the chart here in orange. So since this is only 1 stitch, I also have to finish the orange stitch off in turquoise to be able to continue with the turquoise. So let's do this. We push in the hook with the nose first. We pull the yarn up. I have 2 orange loops on my hook. I just drop the 2nd color, take up my 1st color, make sure that I'm working over the orange in the next stitch, and to finish off this stitch I just pull my yarn through the 2 orange. Now this is rather a little loose. I can pull a little bit so that it's not such a loopy stitch. Now next I want to make these stitches, and then I will continue at the beginning again to finish off my round, because I'm repeating this here twice with my 16 stitches. So I'm making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches in turquoise before we make another orange. This is easy, we don't have any color changes for now. We push through, grab the yarn, pull through, and finish off that stitch. There, isn't that pretty? And we do this again for the next stitches. We're making the color change. We push the hook in, grab our yarn, pull up the loop, two loops in turquoise on our hook. I place the yarn in front. I pick up the orange and I finish off the stitch with the orange so that I can make the next stitch with the orange. So I'm going to push through, pick up the orange stitch. I drop my orange, I pick up the turquoise, and finishing off the orange stitch, sorry, with the turquoise. And so now I can continue with the turquoise. Don't pull too hard on the inactive strand because you can't really block and stretch color work afterwards. Always keep a loose tension. That's very essential. So let me finish this off quickly. So I'm now on the last stitch of the round, and the last stitch of the round is this one here, because I'm ending my last repeat with this stitch. So I'm only making 5 here, and then I'm going to join into this one which I've made first. So I'm going to push into my stitch, going to pull up the loop, I'm going to finish it, and then I'm going to slip stitch into my first stitch. There. Isn't that nice and neat? Now, how do you handle more than 2 colors at the same time? For this I have a third color here, not a third bow, but I'm just going to show you quickly how it's done. There's no big secret to it. I have 2 colors here already. The active one is the turquoise, and I have another here which is the white speckly one. So all I'm going to do is to leave a bit of a tail, which I can weave in later. I'm going to hold it with my right finger there to the edge, just like the second color, the orange, and I'm going to work over both yarns. All right, I'm going to push in, going to grab my main yarn and finish off my stitch. So now I have 3 colors available for whatever I want to do. Let's say I want to use the white one. I'm going to first I'm going to push my yarn into the next one. I'm going to pull up the loop. I'm going to place the color, the active color, to the front. I'm going to pick the color which I want to use next, and I'm going to finish off that stitch with the color I want to use next. Now I'm going to push into the next stitch. I'm going to pull up my loop, and I'm going to make the stitches I want in the light color. With 3 it's easy to get tangled, so now and then you have to move around the balls of yarn just so that you don't get a mess. I'm going to continue with the orange next, so I'm going to finish my light stitch off with the orange. I'm going to place the 2 inactive colors now to the edge, and I'm going to continue crocheting with the orange. There you go. So this is color work in crochet. There. And to finish off your cowl, you would I would probably in this case take the turquoise and make 1 row of center single crochet, and then I would make another. I would just cut off the colors which I don't want anymore, leaving a little bit of a tail, and then I would make 1 round of simple single crochet working over the tails of the other 2 yarns. And then you have a row of single crochet to work with for a border. And for the border there are different options. You can of course just not add any border, but you can add a ribbed border, or you can even pick up the stitches with a knitting needle, and then you can make a ribbed knitted edge, or you can do the reverse half double crochet border, which I already showed to you in the other video, which I'm going to link below. So I made this video on request. I hope it was useful, and I hope it's not even more confusing now for you. So I hope you're going to enjoy your cowl making, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye bye.